it's time once again for the Gay Fox game. Because I need more lesbians in my life.
Oh, you didn't finish this one!
I believe last stream we left off with Miho realizing the person she's been searching for all this time died centuries ago. And it was very dramatic, and they hugged. It was adorable, and I'm very happy. In the morning, once I go downstairs for breakfast, it's pleasantly familiar. Toast, eggs, and fruits, like always, in conversation about books and work in Wellington. After cleaning up, but before Aspen departs, Juliet clears her throat.
By the way, Aspen, I do believe this weekend is a special occasion. Am I correct?
Ooh.
I had been trying to ignore that until now, but yes.
Wait, what? What happens this weekend?
This Friday is my birthday. A brutal reminder that, like we just discussed, time won't wait for me.
Let's go!
Whoa. Humans have parties for that, right? Are you gonna have a party?
No, I'm not turning 12.
How old are you turning?
Not 12.
I thought parties were a thing you got to do your whole life. That's not fair that only 12-year-olds get to have them.
I love this game.
It's not like that. They're just one of those things that you grow out of.
Why?
Why what?
Why do you grow out of them?
Her brow gets more creases. Like she's trying to explain this to herself as much as me.
It's just part of being an adult. You get older and older and you reach the real world and then you don't feel like having a party, I suppose.
That's a little depressing.
When you're young, it's exciting getting older because there's so much you can't do as a child. Once you're an adult, you realize that what you thought adult life would be like isn't real. So instead of being excited that there's cake and ice cream, you start worrying about how many calories are in each.
What's a calorie?
Never mind.
You know, Miho has a point.
She does?
I do!
You're never too old to have fun, as you both went out of your way to remind me. 25 can be just as much a reason to celebrate as 5.
I suppose you're right. For the record, I'm only turning 24, thank you very much. Still, I'm not the partying type. Plus, I told my parents I'd go visit them this weekend. Just for a day, mind. I'll be back well before 24 hours have passed.
That's wonderful. I'm sure they'll be overjoyed to see you.
I'm sure they will be, at least for a little while. I still wouldn't want to stay for more than a weekend, even without Miho to keep in mind. Longer than that, and my mum and I would probably go crazy. I'm not leaving Welly until late Saturday evening, though. Would you mind going with me to the bus stop on that day, Miho? Just to be extra safe.
Aww.
Yeah, of course.
Even without a party, would you let us treat you to dinner on Friday evening? We can go wherever you like.
That would be nice, thank you. No gifts, though. It won't be a party.
That's easy, because they wouldn't know what to get you anyway. Where do you want to go?
I'm not sure yet, but I'll let you two know. Maybe you can come over on Friday evening, and we'll go from there.
Come over? Where?
To my apartment? I do have my own place to live, you know. And, well, it isn't anything special, but I felt I should at least let you two see it. Only if you want to.
Oh shit.
Of course I want to!
I mean it. It's the definition of average. I'm not even sure if it can fit 3 people.
Still Aspen apartment of reveal?
I lived in a dirt hole for most of my life. I can handle anything.
Good point. You'll feel right at home then.
I'd love to come visit as well. Thank you for the invitation.
Great. I'll clean up and make sure the cats are on their best behavior. It's been quite a while since we've had company.
Aspen has cats? Let's fucking go.
I can't wait!
A few of us chit-chat for a little longer, until it's time for us all to split up for the day.
Miho, do you have any plans for the day?
Not yet. Why?
I was planning to go see a movie soon. Would you like to come with me?
Ooh.
You're more than welcome to, of course, Juliet, but I imagine it's rather late for you.
Unfortunately so. I'll be up a while longer, but I wouldn't be able to make it through an entire movie. I hope that you enjoy it, though.
I understand. Miho? It's fine if you don't want to come along, but the showing starts in an hour, so we'd need to leave soon. I prefer to get there before it's crowded.
Obviously, I want to see the movie of Aspen. I believe this, and then probably another choice to find which of the thing is 4 routes. Just a second. I'm back. I already know who I'm going with. Much as I like Juliet, I'm going with Aspen. I love her more.
Sure, I'll go. It's like watching a really big TV, right?
Precisely. I'm sure you'll have a great time. Have fun, both of you. I'll see you two later.
See ya!
Good night!
With that, Juliet waves goodbye and goes to bed.
Are you ready to go?
Yep, I am.
Aspen leads the way outside and down the road.
So what movie are we gonna see?
It's based off a book that I read a long time ago. I should have mentioned that it's a horror movie. That won't be a problem for you, right?
Nah, it's fine. What's a horror movie?
The baby.
A scary movie. This one's about a creepy clown that terrorizes a small town.
I wonder what this is referencing.
A clown? How is that scary?
Well, he's not a regular clown, although those are frightening enough on their own. You'll just have to see, I suppose.
Alright. I didn't know you liked scary things.
I don't watch them that often, but like I said, I read the book a long time ago, so I already know what happens.
Minus that really creepy scene that we don't talk about.
It's just interesting to see how well it gets translated to the screen. If it ends up being too much for you, just let me know. Not everyone has the stomach for these sorts of films.
Okay.
The movie theater is on the same street as the Bell House, but a lot further down. It's the one that Juliet showed me before. Back then I told her that I didn't think I'd be interested in scary movies, but here I am anyway. It's not something I'd go see by myself though. Aspen pays for both our tickets, saying I can just pay her back later. We go inside for a pair of glass doors like the ones in the museum.
Do you want any snacks?
Of course! What do they have?
Well, traditionally you have popcorn at the movies. They also have candy and other things too. If you'd like, we can share some popcorn.
Sounds good. I've never had popcorn from a machine like that before.
How romantic.
Let's change that then.
Aspen goes up to the counter and places our order, while I wait nearby. A minute later she approaches me carrying an enormous tub of popcorn. It's at least as big as my head, ears and all.
Whoa, that's huge!
Considering how much they charge for it, it's only fair. Come on, let's go sit down.
I follow her down a hallway and through another door, where I finally get my first look at a movie screen.
Whoa, that's huge too!
It makes my TV look like a toy in comparison. In fact, it's probably bigger than my entire room. We go up some stairs and then sit down in one of the back rows near the middle. Aspen holds a bucket of popcorn in her lap and I grab a handful, right as something starts to play on the screen. Immediately my ears are assaulted by blaring music and booming speech, with the sound coming from all around. I instinctively cover my ears at first.
Is it supposed to be this loud?
I have to yell to make myself heard.
Yes, but we're not. It's like the library. These are just previews for other movies that are coming out soon. But once the real thing starts, we're not supposed to talk. Although, it's not like there are many other people around that we'd be disturbing.
She's right. We're the only people in the theater right now. This must be why she wanted to see the movie this early in the day. Eventually I get used to the volume level. I grab a handful of popcorn from the bucket to munch on. I'm surprised by how tasty it is.
Whoa! This?
I slap my other hand over my mouth to shut myself up, which makes Aspen laugh. She leans over to whisper.
It's fine. We won't bother anyone. It's just good to know for the next time you see a movie.
Oh. Okay. This is really good.
We sit for a few minutes worth of previews before our movie finally begins. Aspen and I, mostly me, if I'm being honest, are almost halfway through the popcorn already. The movie gets right into the action. In the first couple of minutes, the clown Aspen mentions is already causing chaos. I thought clowns were supposed to be funny, but apparently this one didn't get the memo. I'm not bored, but not exactly scared either. At one point, there's a loud bang as the evil clown jumps out of the darkness. Aww. Beside me, Aspen jumps in her seat, almost spilling the popcorn on the floor. Embarrassed, she wraps her arms tighter around it, so it doesn't happen again. The movie lasts a lot longer than I expected. By the time we leave, it's almost lunchtime. Although I'm too full on popcorn to be hungry. Stepping out into the sunlight, I notice Aspen's face is pale and she wipes her hands on her blouse.
So, how did you like it?
It was alright. I don't think I was ever very scared, though.
That's good. I thought I would be okay since I knew what was going to happen, but it startled me a few times.
No, I believe it is a commonly agreed upon rule that if two people are going to a horror movie, one of them has to be terrified and the other one has to not react at all. It's a law. How romantic comedies happen.
Yeah, I noticed.
At one point, she even covered her eyes.
Well, there's a reason I don't watch those types of movies very often. I'm glad you had a nice time, though.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. Maybe next time we can see something that's easier to watch.
Finally, Aspen manages to smile.
Yes, I'd like that.
Aww. Adorable. Alright, it's time to waste some time. I don't think it matters where we go. I just go down to the bay and type for a bit. The weather is nice, so I decided to take a walk on the beach. My shoes are annoyingly ill-suited for the sand, so I end up carrying them and walking barefoot. The soft sand feels good and natural, in a way that wearing shoes never quite does. A breeze blows in from the bay, salty and fresh. It smells so good. The sun is so nice and mild. This is so nice, why don't I do this more often? Splashing noise. A giant wave crashes and leaves me wet with ice-cold water from the knees down. Right, that's enough beach for one day. I need to go waste our time somewhere else now. I'm sad, where's our fucking... I was invested in Lena getting her for a man. Well, let's go down the waterfront. The fish market is in full force right now. Rows and rows of displays tidily showing off fresh caught fish, with lanes of people twisting all around the market, waiting to purchase the goods. As I walk through the crowds, the dead eyes of hundreds of fish seem to pierce my soul. Don't get me wrong, I'm not squeamish about raw fish in the slightest. I mean, I've caught and eaten plenty of fish as a fox before. But isn't there something a little more about lining up their little bodies for everyone to ogle? If it were me, just eat them right after catching them. That's when they're best, and it seems more respectful to the fish. I guess that's why they're the merchants and not me. Let's go, Aspen's house. She'll let me go, that is. Ah, shit. Oh, I got it. Give me a sec. I'll be right back. Our turn, let's do this. We eventually arrive at an unremarkable looking apartment building, just a few stories tall and without many decorations out front.
This is the place. I believe she's on the ground floor.
Not too far away, one of the doors swings open, and Aspen pokes her head out to wave at us over.
Miho, Juliet, over here.
Aspen!
She holds the door open with one hand while pushing something away with her feet.
No, stay back, you two.
I freeze, halfway to where she is.
What's wrong?
I said, no, not you, Miho. I'm talking to the cats.
Aspen gestures for us to come inside, while keeping an eye on the floor. Juliet and I hurry in, and Aspen shuts the door behind us.
Well, ta-da! Or something.
Whoa!
The entire place is just one room, except for a small bathroom, right across from the door. Right across from the door is a tiny kitchen area, with fridge, stove, and microwave. Everything else is basically a bedroom. There's a dresser, a small desk with a computer, and Aspen's bed itself. Some luggage and boxes are scattered around, which I'm guessing were part of Aspen's cleanup. It is a cute house, though.
I hope that was the good kind of whoa.
It's lovely, Aspen. I adore the fairy lights and plants. They make it feel very welcoming. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks. It was a good whoa, don't worry.
I didn't really have any expectations, but I'm still kind of surprised by how small it is. I figured she'd been exaggerating that part, at least a little bit. Decorations make it feel fitting for Aspen, though. Two pairs of green eyes peek up at us from around the corner, and both cats go dashing under the bed as we step further inside.
there's not more space to sit down. You can see why I don't have company over very often. You can sit on the bed if you'd like. Or the computer chair.
Oh, it's fine. I'm okay on the floor.
Oh, it has to be at least one person who demands to sit on the floor. Take a seat with my back against the dresser, while Juliet sits down on the bed as invited. Aspen ends up taking the sole chair for herself. As soon as I sit down, I spring back up, remembering the occasion.
Oh yeah! Happy birthday!
Yes, happy birthday, Aspen. Here's to another wonderful year.
Thank you. This year has been pretty good, I must say.
Narrowing my eyes, I inspect Aspen, who notices and frowns at me.
Can I help you?
You don't look any older.
I'm glad to hear that. It doesn't just happen overnight on your birthday, though. Not that you would be aware of that, I suppose. Anyway, enough about that. Are you too hungry? We've already done everything there is to do here, I believe.
You've sat down. Incredible.
Now you understand why I never have people over.
She's so cute.
It's fine. I don't mind just sitting around. But yeah, I'm always ready to eat.
Have you decided where you want to go?
I think so. There's a seafood restaurant that isn't too far away that I enjoy, but don't go to very often. Does that work for both of you?
I'm okay with anything. I just like food.
Indeed. It's your birthday, so we'll have whatever you want.
All right. Let's get going then.
The restaurant's a bit of a walk from Aspen's apartment, but it's a nice day, so I don't mind. We end up at a pier not too far away from the museum I visited. It's not a very big place, but it's bigger than the Bell House. Half of it juts out over the ocean itself. We get seated right away, at a long table with metal stools.
It sure smells fishy.
It's supposed to. That means it's fresh.
Our waiters bring out 3 menus, setting one in front of each of us, and promises to come back to take our orders soon. Aspen and Juliet both pick up their menus and start flipping through, so I do the same.
Let me know if you need help reading anything, Miho.
Thanks.
Fortunately, there are plenty of pictures. The Bell House could learn a thing or two from here. I'm even able to read some of the words, like fish and corn, but there are others that I don't recognize at all.
What do you usually get here, Aspen?
Well, they're most well known for their crab, although it's very messy. And expensive, so I've never had it. I usually get the clam chowder, or fish and chips, if I want to hate myself later.
Oh. What's chowder?
Good question, I don't actually know that either.
It's like a thick soup.
Oh. Isn't it hard to eat clams? I've tried before, but I couldn't get past the shells.
They do that for you. No shells involved.
Whoa! That's nice of them.
I'm sure they'd be glad to hear that. Is there something you usually order when you go out to eat?
I've never been to a restaurant before. Unless you count the Bell House. Well, not as a paying customer at least. But I know how they work because I've seen them on TV.
I hope you enjoy your first time then.
I will.
Both of you, feel free to order whatever you'd like. Don't worry about the price.
Don't worry, I wasn't.
A nearby door swings open, and for a second I can see into the kitchen as another waiter comes out, carrying a big bucket. A number of spiny claws and legs poke out of it.
Wait. Is that...
They take the bucket to another table and set it down, along with a big pile of napkins.
The crab? Yes.
I watch intently, curious to see how these people are going to get past the shells.
You shouldn't stare, you know.
I ignore her. I have to know. They grab some utensils that I've never seen before, and use those to crack the shells. I watch fascinated while they do. Turning back to Aspen and Juliet, I've made up my mind.
I want that!
Clams were too hard, but I used to love eating crab. It's been a long, long time since I've had it now.
It would be nice to try at least once.
Sounds like it's settled then.
Our waiter shows back up, a few glasses of water in hand, and Juliet orders for all of us. The waiter takes the menus back, saying our food should be out before too long. I sip my water and look around, enjoying the new experience.
Have you ever been here before, Juliet?
I haven't. As I'm sure you know, I don't go out to eat very often. I've been to similar restaurants before, though.
You went to the Bell House back when it first opened, didn't you? I seem to recall you telling me that once.
I did, yes. I can still remember what I had. A chai latte with a blueberry scone.
Were you working there yet?
Blueberry scone. That's fancy.
Oh no, it was a few years before I came to Welly. Although, Regina, my boss, wants to expand. There's going to be a second location opening in a couple months. She asked me if I would consider being store manager.
Oh, congratulations! That's quite the honor.
You'd get to run the whole place?
I would still be working for her, but otherwise, yes. I haven't decided if I want to do it or not, though. It would be a lot more work and responsibility, obviously. It would take up much more of my time, too. I'm not sure if I want to put myself through that.
That's understandable. I do think you'd be well suited for it, though.
Yeah, you already do a lot at the other Bell House.
Thanks. Yes, it is tempting. I told her I'll think about it and give her an answer by the end of next month. The building it'll be in is already a coffee shop, so it won't take too long to convert. It all depends on some other things, really.
Like what?
Well, for one, I'd been thinking about keeping this a secret until I hear back, but I finally finished a draft of my manuscript.
Ooh.
I sent it off to a few publishers to see what they think.
Oh, congratulations, Aspen! That's a stunning achievement.
Yeah! What are you gonna do with all your free time now?
Thank you. That's a good question. I'm sure I'll spend plenty of it worrying. Other than that, I will need to find some new ways to fill my day. If all goes well, then I won't have time to help out at the new store. I'm getting rather ahead of myself, though. It's only been a little over a week since I submitted it.
Oh. I hope it works out for you.
Me too.
We sit and talk about the usual stuff for maybe 15 or 20 minutes, before our waiter comes out of the kitchen carrying a giant bucket like the one we saw earlier. Aspen and I both gasp in awe as they place it on the table before us with a flourish, giving us a stack of napkins and tools like the other group.
Well, let's not just stare. Dig in!
I don't even know where to start.
I grab one of the pieces closest to me. It's hot, so hot to drop it on my plate. Aspen does the same thing with a yelp of pain. Juliet, on the other hand, seems totally unbothered as she calmly claims a portion for herself. Leaning in close, I blow on my foot to try and cool it down. While I do, I watch Juliet to observe how she does it. She smiles as she notices me watching, and turns her hands so as to give me a better view, as she uses the tool to crack the shell and get to the meat. Aspen seems to know what she's doing too, once it's cool enough for her to handle. Now I just need to give it a try. Try to mimic what I saw Juliet do, and after a moment of squeezing really hard, it finally works.
That was a lot easier than trying to use my own claws.
I should hope so.
I pile it onto my fork and take a big bite, finally getting to enjoy my prize. I feel my eyes go wide of how good it is.
Enjoying it?
Yeah!
I quickly finish the piece I was eating, and then rush to grab another one. It's a lot easier to crack now that I know what I'm doing. For a while, the only sound coming from our table are those of us enjoying our food and the occasional sip of water. When our waiter comes by to give us refills, we look a little shocked at how much we've already gone through. When the bucket is finally empty and I sadly toss the shell of my last piece into the waste bag, Juliet seems to pick up on it.
Are you still hungry, Miho?
Hungry? No. Do I want to eat more? Yes. That was delicious.
Aww. Juliet glances at Aspen, who shrugs.
I could eat more.
The next time the waiter passes by, Juliet flags him down with a smile.
Could we get a second order of this, please?
It feels like it may as well be my birthday instead of Aspen's. By the time we get through the second bucket, even I can't eat anymore. We leave the restaurant in a bit of a daze.
I don't know if I've ever been this full in my life.
Me too. I think I'm set on crab for a long time now. Thanks for dinner though, Juliet. It was wonderful.
Of course. It was my pleasure. I hope you've had a nice birthday.
I certainly have. Now if I can make it back home, I'll call it a success. I feel like I've put on several kilos just from that meal.
Would you like me to call you a taxi?
No, it's fine. Walking some of this off will be good for me. I still have to pack and get ready for tomorrow.
I suppose Miho and I will head home as well then. Does that sound okay, Miho?
Yeah, let's just walk slow.
Still, I manage a weak wave.
Bye, Aspen. Happy birthday again.
Thank you again. Good night to you both. I'll see you two tomorrow.
Aspen trudges off, but Juliet somehow seems unfazed.
Shall we be off?
Taking a deep breath, I steel myself for the long walk home.
Yeah, let's go.
The afternoon of Aspen's departure, she's unusually quiet. Although she showed up for breakfast like normal, she barely says a word throughout the whole meal, other than things like yes please and no thanks. From the way she keeps checking her phone and messing with her face and clothes, I can tell something must be on her mind. I figure she's just antsy about her trip, so I don't bring it up or try to talk to her. Instead, Juliet and I mostly chat until we're done eating and the dishes are cleaned up. The moment we're finished, Aspen perks up a little bit.
Miho, are you ready to go to the bus station?
Yeah. This way, you have as much time as possible to get back.
Precisely. Thank you.
Of course.
Before departing, Juliet approaches Aspen and gives her a hug. From the outside, I realize that hugs look kinda weird. People have come up with the strangest ways to show they care about each other.
Safe travels, Aspen. Let us know when you get there.
Will do. I won't have reception while traveling, but I'll send a message as soon as I'm home.
How long's your trip?
If it was by car, only a couple hours. It'll be closer to 4 by bus, though. I'll take an early one on the way back tomorrow, just to be safe.
Ample reading time, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, reading on the bus is peak, mainly because it's one of the few times I can actually get myself to fucking do it.
Oh yes.
She drums her fingers on a book tucked into her bag.
Patricia and I have a lot of catching up to do.
Although she's still fidgety, it seems like Aspen remembers how to speak. After spending an unusually long time adjusting her skirt and hair, she finally faces me brightly.
Well, shall we be off, Miho?
Yep.
Goodbye, Aspen. Good night, Miho.
Bye.
Later.
Aspen holds the front door open for me as we exit the library.
Where exactly is the bus station?
Not too far from my apartment. We'll pass it by on the way there.
Should we stop by and say hi to the cats? I'm sure they'd love to see me.
They're going to be angry enough at me for leaving for a day. I'm not sure I want to traumatize them right before I go.
Dang it. I've never gotten along with cats.
Have you known many?
Only a few. Some of the strays have some really good stories to tell.
The two of us walk along in silence for a little bit before Aspen pokes me on the shoulder. I've gotten more used to physical contact like that, but it still surprises me every time.
What's it like talking to an animal, anyway? How do you do it?
I'm not sure. It was just something that I knew how to do, like making a den. A lot of the time, you can just feel what they mean without saying it. I don't know how to put it.
No, that makes sense. There are some things that you just can't put into words, as much as you'd like to.
Exactly. I have the problem a lot. I'll bet you don't, though.
You'd lose that bet quite handily. Why, I'd say I struggle to put things into words more than anything.
Really? How? I thought you loved writing.
I do, usually, but it's not that simple. Sometimes you just can't use any old words. You have to use the right ones. And often that means going through lots and lots of the wrong ones until you find them.
I think it's easier the way animals do it.
It certainly sounds like it. I often wonder if I could talk to Percy and Byron, what they would have to say. Maybe they just complain about me not feeding them enough or something.
Do you want me to ask them?
It's tempting, but no thanks. As long as I don't know for a fact that they're saying rude things, I can convince myself that they're not.
Aww.
Rather like that other cat in the box.
Cats like being in boxes, so they probably wouldn't be complaining.
Not quite what I meant, but I'll take it.
For a bit, Aspen hums quietly to herself while we walk. I don't know if she knows that I can hear her. Even though she's being more chatty, there's still something that seems a little off about Aspen. I can't quite place my finger on what it is though. At one point, she checks her phone and starts to walk a little bit quicker.
Are you looking forward to going home?
She has to think about it. That kind of answers my question.
I am, yes. But like I said, I prefer to only do so for a day or two at a time.
'Cause of your parents?
A little. They're not really that bad, though. Mum's a worrywart and Dad isn't, so Mum feels like she needs to worry enough for both of them. It's not too bad over the phone, but when I'm there, Mum always tries to convince me to stay and move back. So I tell them they should move out here instead, and Mum goes into why they can't, and it's just tiresome.
Sounds like she cares about you a lot.
She does. And I love her too, don't get me wrong. It's more the town than them. Or rather, the lack thereof.
What do you mean?
They live in the middle of nowhere. Mum loves it out in the countryside and says she can't live without her backyard view and half a kilometre from the nearest neighbours. I, on the other hand, can't live without bookstores and coffee shops and high-speed internet.
So that's why you moved to Wellington?
That's why I moved to Wellington. It seemed like a necessity to make it as an author.
Try to put together the things she's been telling me into one big picture.
Can you only find the right words here?
Exactly. At least, that's what I thought before I came. Turns out that moving to a new city won't magically make you a better writer. Or even a writer at all. Back when I was in school, I used to daydream about what life in the big city must be like. Busy and important things happening during the day, and then nights full of excitement and sparkling wonder. Instead, it's the Bell House, and a tiny apartment the size of my living room back home. I thought if I put myself in this new environment, then I'd grow into the type of person who belonged there. I learned the hard way that places don't change who we are. Still, better to be struggling to make it in the city than doing nothing out in the boonies, I tell myself.
I think it sounds pretty nice. Peace and quiet, nothing to have to worry about.
Ugh, not you too. That's exactly what my mum says. Trust me, it sounds better hearing about it than living it. Just like Wellington. Or any city, I'd imagine.
I mean, that's most things in general, to be fair.
I'm sure even Wellington must seem like a bore compared to some of the places you've been to, like Shanghai or Seoul.
Well, yeah. I still like it though. Those cities are too big for me. They're noisy and loud and smell bad, and anything can be dangerous. You have to be on your guard all the time. It's not like that here. The scariest thing I've seen was a movie.
That's true. I'm glad. I'm glad you liked it enough to stay.
God, this game's fucking adorable.
Me too.
We're well into the city, pretty far past Cuba Street and the Bell House. Now that I've been there once, I also recognize Tipapa, the museum we all passed when we all passed by it. By now, there isn't much I don't recognize. I've been all over this part of Wellington enough that I could probably get from here to Mount Victoria with my eyes closed. I memorized other cities the same way when I lived there, but for the most part, once I left, I forgot all about them. I'm not sure I'd ever be able to forget the streets of Wellington now, even if I wanted to. Instead of humming, Aspen starts fidgeting again as we walk, messing with her phone and purse and hat and glasses. I recognize the shops and apartment buildings from the walk to Aspen's house, so we can't be far from the station.
Are you nervous?
Me? No. No. Why would I be? Do I seem nervous?
Yeah. Is it because of the bus? You don't have to worry about that. I've ridden on them lots of times and they only broke down like once.
No, it's not that. I mean, no, I'm not nervous.
Okay.
I've never seen Aspen more nervous, but I still don't push it. I can hear and smell the bus station before I see it, and then it comes into view. There are 2 or 3 buses parked or passing through. I wonder if one of them is Aspen's. We step across the street and she checks her phone again, then puts it away.
You're not late, are you? Oh, I could have walked faster.
No, we're right on time. It'll be here any minute now.
Cool. I'll wait with you till it arrives.
I start to cross the road, but stop when I notice Aspen isn't following. Instead, she stands on the sidewalk, gripping the strap on her bag tightly.
Aspen?
I trot back to her, looking around to see if I'm missing something, but there's nothing, other than a couple of people waiting far away at the station.
Are you alright?
She blinks a couple times, then takes a deep, deep breath before facing me.
Miho, I have to tell you something.
The effort of her words is immediate. Fud fud. Like she casts a spell, my heart starts to race. Whatever she's going to say must be why she was acting so weird all afternoon. Is something bad? Is she not going to come back after all?
Yeah?
I barely managed to croak out an answer. I can't handle more heartbreak so soon.
It's something that I've been thinking about telling you for a long time.
Ooh.
But it was one of those things where I wasn't sure how. Or when. Because I didn't know how you'd take it.
What could it even be? We just saw Juliet, so it can't be anything to do with her. Lena?
But then, after we all talked the other night, I realized that I should just say it anyway. Because no matter what, I know I would regret it more later if I didn't. Who knows how many more chances I might get. So I thought about it. A lot. What the right words were. And I just couldn't figure it out. So I didn't prepare. I'm just saying this, somehow, and hoping. God, I'm actually saying this, aren't I?
Her grip on her hat shifts, clutching it so tightly her knuckles are turning white. I feel frozen in place, not sure what to do or say. All I can do is stare. My heart feels like it's going to explode out of my chest while she looks down at the ground. Whispering something to herself, she wrings her hat in her hands before looking back up at me.
There's something I want you to know. Miho, I used to think that there was no way someone like you could exist. Someone who looks at the world like you do. And is honest about what you see. The good and the bad. And at the same time, someone who doesn't realize just how much she has to offer. Just how much you make people happy. But here you are. Maybe meeting you used up all my luck for the rest of my life. But here you are. And I love you. And I just couldn't keep not telling you that. In case maybe you love me too.
Oh my god!
I couldn't keep just hoping and wondering and not knowing. And now that I've said it, it feels so good to have out there. I love you, Miho. I love you.
Oh, it's so cute, my heart. Oh my...
At first, I wasn't sure because everything seemed too perfect and unreal. I thought that I was just letting myself get carried away like I always do. A silly little daydream, but it's true. It makes me feel silly how much already, when I think of how utterly stupid it always sounded to me when reading about love at first sight. But how could it be anything else? I don't believe in coincidence, Miho. My life was changed the moment I saw you. I just didn't know it yet. Now I do. Now we both do. I love you, Miho. It's out there, and I can't take it back.
Her words drift away into the air and we look at each other in silence. My head is TV static, buzzing with nothing to show. Not because it's empty, but because it's too much for me to process. Aspen. In love? With me? Wind whips past my face as a bus rolls by, pulling into the station. I barely notice it, barely able to notice anything. Aspen is in love with me? I don't know what to say. But Aspen raises a finger to her lips.
Shh. Don't tell me.
I said it now before I leave for a reason. Because I thought you might say that. Tomorrow. Whatever it is you feel, I'll hear it then.
I look at her face for some guide on how to respond, but she just keeps giving me a smile. A weak, fragile smile. Left unfounded, I nod. Aspen is in love with me? Returning her hat to her head, Aspen sighs, like she just finished a hard day's work.
Well, that's it. All I have to say, I suppose. As if that wasn't one of the most important things I've ever said in my life. That's my bus. So, I'll see you tomorrow, Miho. And no matter what, it's okay. If we just carry on being friends like normal, I'm fine with that. More than fine. I'm just glad that I took the chance to tell you.
For how nervous she was a few minutes ago, she does seem a lot calmer now. It may as well be a statue as Aspen starts to walk past me, but then she pauses.
May I give you a goodbye hug?
That much I can respond to, at least.
Yeah.
We wrap our arms around each other, that weird human custom. Something may have just changed, but she's still the same Aspen she was when we left the library. Try to listen for what she might say without words as she squeezes me tight. Finally, she steps away with a smile. It may be the most genuine one I've ever seen on her face.
Bye, Miho.
Bye.
Like, goddamn heart. I make my way back to the library like a zombie, my feet moving without really thinking about it. Aspen's words keep replaying over and over in my head. I get them, but I can't make sense of them. There's not a sound to be heard from the empty aisles when I enter. Juliet having finished tidying up in the house. Having finished tidying up in the hour or so that passed since I left. After a quick glance around, I head towards the stairs. When I head up to the second floor, I spot a sliver of light from underneath Juliet's bedroom door. I knock and it opens just a moment later. Juliet greets me with a calm smile at first, but the corners of her mouth falter when she looks at my face. I don't quite know what expression I'm making right now. I don't know what I'm even feeling to begin with.
Miho? Did something happen?
Aspen said she's in love with me.
Oh, I see.
Juliet's not the type to be shocked easily. That's why I wanted to see her for advice. But even she's even less surprised than I thought she would be.
Give me just a moment, and I'll meet you in my study.
I nod and head over there, opening the door. As I walk into the darkness, I'm met by several pairs of eyes.
What?
Just as startled as I am, several bats begin to flap their wings and noisily take flight, chittering overhead before most of them leave out the open window. The biggest one watches me for a bit longer before departing as well. By the time Juliet enters the study and turns on the lamp, it's just me and her.
Sorry I scared off all your bats.
It's fine. Don't worry. I'll be back before too long.
We settle down into the same seats as last time, with Juliet behind her desk and me across from it.
So, Aspen.
Yeah. Aspen.
I wonder what Aspen's thinking about right now. Is her head as much of a mess as mine? Probably, knowing her.
We had just gotten to the bus station when she stopped and said it. She said she waited until just before she left, so she didn't have to hear my feelings until tomorrow, when she gets home.
And what are your feelings?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't ever thought about love or someone being in love with me. I don't even really know what it means. I know the word, but how does it feel? How would I know? The other day, you talked about how much you loved Cosette, and how you didn't know much about love before then. This is a different love from that, right?
She thinks to herself for a while, carefully considering her answer. I'm glad she does. At least one of us can stand back and think over this properly.
Yes and no. Of course, the bond between a parent and their child is different than that of two partners, but it comes from the same part of the heart. The part that you give away to somebody else. Love is when you care about another person so much that the feeling becomes bigger than you. When your life is more full and joyful for the presence of that person in it. I could throw out any number of cliches, but they'd be meaningless. What love means and how it feels are different for every person. To speak from my own experiences, love is like a flower. It starts as something tiny, but as it's nurtured and cared for, it grows. It reaches toward the sunlight and towards something better and blooms into something beautiful. Not all flowers grow at the same rate, and not all flowers look the same. But wouldn't you agree that that's the joy of flowers, Miho?
I look up from the floor towards Juliet, who's watching me warmly.
I like flowers, but I've never grown one before.
The same can be said for everyone at some point. But as long as you're willing to give it the time and patience that it deserves, even the tiniest seed can become something wonderful.
Juliet must see the confusion on my face, because she touches my hand gently.
You should take some time to yourself, Miho. We can talk about it later tonight, if you're ready. If you needed even more time, I'm sure Aspen would understand.
Yeah. I need to think about it. And sorry for waking you up. Or keeping you up. Whichever.
It's no trouble at all. I'm glad that you felt comfortable coming to me about this.
It was the first thing I did. Thanks, by the way. You helped me out a lot.
Of course. It's my pleasure. It's what friends are for.
Juliet returns to bed and goes back to my room, and I go back to my room as well. I sit down on the floor, which is where I've done a lot of my best thinking recently. I lean against my bed and turn on the TV. There sure are a lot of shows and movies about love, aren't there? It's difficult to imagine that concept applying to me. I do know that I care about Aspen a lot. I like being around her, I like talking to her. I look forward to seeing her when she's not there. We're friends, but could be more than that. I spend a few hours stewing in my thoughts and not coming to any conclusions. Love feels like something I couldn't and shouldn't apply to me, and yet here I am. Hours pass as I consider the issue from every angle. I end up with more questions than answers. Is it something I want? Is it something I could even do? What I choose to say to Aspen doesn't just affect me, but it affects her too. No matter what, both of our lives are about to change. No matter what, I have to make a decision. I'm sure that I'll have some doubt. I'm sure that I'll have some doubts either way, but I can't just ignore or run away from this. So after turning it over and over in my mind, I finally make a choice. Slowly I stand up and head downstairs. My legs feel like jelly as they carry me towards another huge moment. My hands shake, but I hold on tightly to the banister and head down to the kitchen where Juliet's making tea. There's a second mug set on the table, full of steaming hot chocolate.
Right on time, like always. I was just about to call for you.
I heard you get up a little while ago. I was still doing some thinking, though.
I see, I see. So I take it that means you've made up your mind about Aspen, then?
Yeah. It wasn't easy, but I have.
Matters of the heart are rarely easy. Shall we sit?
Yeah.
We take our usual seats, the third one conspicuously empty. I take a big gulp of my hot chocolate while Juliet takes a small sip of tea. Wiping my mouth with the back of my hand, I lean back in my chair, taking a deep breath. I lean back in my chair, take a deep breath and nod.
I've decided.
Oh, okay, I see how it is. This is the second option that dictates our route. I think we already know what we're going for. Juliet's cool, and I'll probably go back and do her route. If I ever get around to editing these streams, I'll definitely add in. I definitely want to have played both and stick them both on the end there. But I'm definitely going Aspen's route this time.
I want to try things with Aspen. I know it'll be hard, but I want to try.
I feel more sure of the words as I say them. Something about this decision feels right. I do want to try. Like Aspen said yesterday, it's out there now and I can't take it back.
I know she's a human, and so... someday it'll hurt. But I can't just always run away from things that are painful. Because... if it hurts, that means it was important, doesn't it?
It certainly does. That's a wise way to think about it.
I know I don't know much about love, or how to be in love with someone. But I'm willing to learn, and try.
As I speak, I feel something stir in my heart. That feeling of excitement that pushes me forward so many times before, keeps me motivated in my life, kept me motivated in my lifelong search. Is that the feeling that could grow? I always struggled to put a name to it. Could it be?
Trying is all anyone could ask of you, Aspen or otherwise. All you have to do is be yourself. That's who Aspen fell in love with, after all. I can't tell you how happy I am for both of you.
As it begins to sink in, I feel a grin spread across my face. Aspen is in love with me, and I think that maybe, just maybe, I could be in love with her too.
Thanks. I wish she was here, so I could tell her right now. Tomorrow seems so far away.
It's so cute. I'm glad no one's home right now to hear me fucking stand for these. Oh, my heart. My lesbian heart. Oh, they're so cute. Oh, I love it.
I'm certain she's thinking the same thing. Still, it is rather like her to say something so momentous and then disappear. It took quite a while for her to work up the courage to tell you.
With a wink, Juliet lifts her teacup.
I wouldn't be surprised if she borrowed the idea from some book or another.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. And wait, you knew she was gonna tell me?
Not exactly. I've known for a long time that she held feelings for you. She never told me outright, but Aspen isn't particularly subtle.
It's I don't know what the girl version of the bro code is. Whatever it is, she's maintaining it.
I never noticed. But I guess I don't know what I would have been looking for either.
All that's important is that she was able to tell you how she felt, and you were able to accept those feelings. Anything along the way was but a means to the same end.
Juliet's right, not just about Aspen, but about my life in general. As she pointed out herself, as she pointed out not that long ago. I thought it had all been for nothing, pointless ever since Zhongyan died without my knowing it. As if I'd reached a dead end myself. That was just the end of a chapter in my life, not the whole story, as Aspen would say. I had thought my life, as I knew it, was ending, and maybe that was true. On the other hand, I feel like a new life for myself is just beginning, one that isn't so solitary and lonesome. Nearly every day I discover something new about myself, things I used to think were impossible, at least for someone like me. Maybe I'm not so different at all. I found a new place to belong, and someone new to share my life with as much of it as I can. Aspen, who's seen just as many different sides of me as I have of her, and who can still chose to tell me she loved me, even though she'd never told anyone that before. I can't wait for her to get back so we can find out what's next together. With nothing more to say about it until Aspen returns, Juliet and I move on to talking about other things, like the library and recent events. I feel pleasantly warm, like I'm glowing, and we sit there and chat. That sensation carries me through the rest of the evening, and all the way to bed, where I lie for hours. Usually I'm frustrated when the chaos of my own thoughts stops me from falling asleep, but for the first time ever, excitement rather than fears was keeping me awake. Instead of just waiting for the day to end, I close my eyes, looking forward to the dawn of morning. For once, my struggle to fall asleep worked out in my favor. I sleep until later than usual the next morning, and I don't have to wait as long for Aspen's bus to arrive. I've barely even woken up and I'm already thinking about her. Looking up at the ceiling, I can't help but smile. I wonder if she's thinking about me too. I'm too full of nervous energy to stay in bed for too long, so I hop up and get ready in a hurry. In the kitchen, I figured Juliet must have already eaten, cleaned up, and gone to bed, as I don't see any dishes or leftover food. To my surprise, she came downstairs just a minute after I did.
Good morning.
Hey! I didn't wake you up, did I?
No, not at all. Although I was upstairs, I thought I'd wait and have breakfast with you like usual.
Oh, thanks. Sorry for keeping you waiting. I kind of fell asleep late, so I slept in too.
Understandable. I'm sure you have lots on your mind.
You can say that again.
I take my seat at the table while Juliet pokes for the fridge.
Are you hungry for anything in particular?
Not really. Maybe something light? I don't think I can finish a big meal right now.
Chuckling, Juliet retrieves a couple of pieces of fruit and some cheese.
Butterflies in your tummy?
Nah, I haven't eaten anything. I'm just nervous.
Aww.
I'm sure I would be too, in your position. Although, Aspen did the difficult task of taking the first step. You have the luxury of being the one to respond.
That's true.
Juliet sets a platter with slices of apples and oranges, as well as a few blocks of cheese, on the table between us, and I idly munch on some of the fruit.
Do you want to come wait at the station with me? I'm leaving after we're done eating.
I'll pass, but thank you. The two of you will have plenty to talk about on your own, I'm sure. But I imagine I'll see you both later tonight?
Definitely.
The minutes pass by agonizingly slowly, especially after Juliet goes to bed, but eventually it's late enough for me to leave. I burst up out of my seat, forcing myself not to walk too fast. As long as I'm walking, I'm doing something. If I get there too early, I have to wait, and I hate waiting. Humming to myself, I followed the same route Aspen and I took yesterday. If I wanted to, I probably could have found a faster way, or even a longer way to kill more time. It's not worth the risk of getting lost though. The closer I get to the station, the faster my heart races, the growing anticipation, the way I can't think about anything else. It reminds me of something I haven't experienced in ages. It reminds me of days in the forest, towards the end of my time as a regular fox, the way I felt on the way to the clearing every day to see my person. Back then it was different, of course, more instinctual, less thinking, but it still pushed me forward. That was love, wasn't it? In my own way, just like Juliet said. Usually something like that would stop me in my tracks, but today it just makes me smile. My good mood carries me the rest of the way to the bus station. I paused the intersection where we stood yesterday, while Aspen said everything. This spot will be special to me forever. I already know. I hurried across to the other side. There are a handful of other people waiting, and standing or leaning against the fence. I sat down on one of the empty benches, practically buzzing with anticipation. I watch the clock as it continues to tick away, until finally the scheduled minute comes, and there's no bus in sight. I sigh, disappointed but not surprised. Since when are buses ever exactly on time anyway? Yeah. Soon the bus is in a couple minutes late, and then 5 minutes, and it gets harder and harder not to worry.
Good thing she left early.
I notice that I'm not alone. Some of the other people waiting are beginning to get agitated too. One person stands on the edge of the sidewalk, peering in either direction. A couple others who have been waiting in the boarding zone since I got here sit down on one of the benches near me and pull out their phones. One of them taps a few times, reading something and then groans.
Told you. Delayed. Says it right here.
Guess I owe you a tenner. It say how long?
Nope. Just says delayed due to vehicle issues.
Oh, fuck you, do not do this to me, fuck you. Dread seizes me. With a shaky hand, I tap one of the travelers on the shoulder.
Excuse me. Which bus is it that's delayed?
Ah, that be Route 4. You waiting for it too?
My friend's on it. I don't know which, but she was supposed to be here 10 minutes ago.
Aye. Well, probably the same one then. Bad luck, but it does happen every now and then. I hope you weren't in a hurry.
I swear to God.
I was, actually. Do you know what they'll do? What'll happen to the people on the bus?
Well, I imagine the city will have to send someone out, figure out what's wrong, fix it, or send a replacement. I'm sure your friend will get here one way or another, but it could be hours. You might want to give them a call and find out where they are. Might be quicker for them to find their own ride home.
I fell off the bench before he even finished speaking, dashing back the way I came.
Hey, good luck.
I barely hear him. Of all the buses to break down, on all the days for it to happen. As I run, I can't help but think about how unfair it is. For everything in the world, a couple hours bus delay would be annoying, but for everyone else in the world, a couple hours bus delay would be annoying, but that's it. But for me and Aspen, I didn't want to think about what it would be like if she forgot me. After getting back to the library in record time, I apparently crashed through the door as I head upstairs for the second day in a row. I knock on Juliet's bedroom door, before having to bend over to catch my breath. It's been ages since I've run that long, and it shows. Juliet answers in the door quickly.
Miho? What's wrong?
Aspen's bus still isn't here. Someone at the station said one of them broke down on the way. What if it was hers?
Wordlessly, Juliet hurries to retrieve her phone. It looks weirdly out of place in her hands as she navigates through several screens, slower than Aspen would. Her face turns grim after only reading for a moment.
It seems you're right.
The confirmation just tightens the knot on my chest. I just barely manage to croak out a question.
What do we do?
How long do you have left?
2 hours. A little less.
She shouldn't be too far away. I'll try calling her.
It doesn't even ring, instead it goes straight to voicemail. I look up at Juliet helplessly, trying to ignore the panic that'll overrun me if I let it.
She did say that she'd have poor reception en route. Here, Miho. Keep trying. I'll be back in a moment.
She hands me the phone and shows me how to use it before hurrying into her bedroom. Hit the button again, staring at the small contact photo of Aspen that Juliet saved. It's a picture of Aspen at the breakfast table, smiling awkwardly. Her voicemail message starts again, so I cancel and try again, and again, and again, but it's the same result every time. I end the call and start another one for what must be the 6th or 7th time.
Juliet, is that...
My thumb is on the end button out of habit, but I barely manage to stop myself from pressing it.
Aspen!
It's a loud burst of static.
You?
Aspen! It's me! Where are you?
Julia comes back out to hear while she hears me, waiting anxiously by my side. Aspen says something again, but it's garbled by the connection.
What? I can't hear you!
King reception. Let me...
Everything goes quiet, and for a terrible moment, I'm afraid that the call had dropped.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Instead, I nearly drop the phone when her voice comes through again, much clearer this time.
Good. I can't move from this spot then. It's the only place I have service.
Where are you?
God, we're so close. I can literally see the city in the distance. Something's wrong with the bus. I don't know what. They said there's another one coming to pick us up, but I'm not sure when it's supposed to be here.
We only have 2 hours before.
I know. Trust me, I know. I was hoping the replacement would be here sooner, but that's not going to happen.
Aspen, you said you're close. Do you know where exactly?
I don't, no, but there's just the one road into the city, and I can see it. That's what I'll do, actually. I'll start walking towards the city, and hopefully I'll see the other bus on the way.
Will that work?
I don't know. I'm going to do it anyway.
Julia and I look at each other. I wonder if she has the same thought as I do.
Okay. I'm coming too.
What? Coming where?
Wherever you are. You said it's just one road, right? I'll meet you on it.
You'll... Okay. I understand.
I'll be there on time. I promise.
From the other end of the line comes the very clear sound of Aspen sniffling.
Okay. I'll see you soon.
My heart! Fuck you! Fuck you! Damn it!
As soon as I start walking, I'll probably lose reception again. I'll try to call you when I can.
Okay. Okay, I'm on my way.
The line clicks dead and I try to hand Julia her phone back, but she shakes her head.
Hold on to it. You can bring it back to me after you find her.
You know, get a taxi over there or something? I know, there's no time to talk about anything else.
How do I get there?
Juliet pulls out a map and shows me, pointing out where the library is.
I was going to try to find a taxi. Between traffic and everything else, I'm not sure it would be faster. It's so far away though, Miho. Are you sure you'll be alright?
I will. I have to be.
I immediately make for the stairs, pausing for just a second.
Thanks.
Thank me later. Together.
I nod and then transform as I ball out the front door. Foxes can't run as long as humans can, but they can run faster. As a Gumi Ho, maybe I can do both. Wind whips at my tail as I rush forward, channeling whatever willpower and determination I can into running. The map Juliet gave me showed which routes to take to get out of the city, but I don't need roads. I run straight for the edge of town, dodging traffic, pedestrians, and more. Dogs bark as I race through their yards and shocked people gape as I dash past them without paying any attention. I don't even know how long I run for, I just know that I don't stop. Even my legs and chest start to ache, I keep going. A little pain now is compared to nothing, is nothing compared to what losing Aspen would be like. The buildings begin to thin out, and even as traffic increases, I finally find myself out of Wellington. Following the road, I race towards where Aspen must be. Cars and trees fly by, replacing the buildings and street signs. There are hills and forests that I'm sure are beautiful. I'm sure are as beautiful as everything else I've seen, but I hardly notice them at all. The longer I run, the more it starts to take a toll on me. Against my will, I can feel my speed flagging, each step taking just a little bit more effort than the last. I push this form to its absolute limit, and eventually it brings me to a halt. I change form once again, gasping for air as I place my hands on my knees, trying to catch my breath. The run from the station back to the library winded me, and this was many times harder. But I can't stop moving. I have to keep going. I have to. Lungs on fire and with my legs feeling like lead, I make myself take another step, and then another. Mustering all my strength, I break into a jog the fastest I can manage. Keep my gaze set on the horizon, hoping for a glimpse of her. Anything to set my heart and mind at ease. Anything. The sun begins to dip even lower as if even the sky is reminding me the time is running out. My steps are leading, and my own mind abuzz with wordless fear and worry. At first, I don't believe my eyes when I finally spot something walking in my direction far off in the distance. Please let it be her. A steady trot is all I can do, by now, and I let even that slow to a normal walking pace. The other figure and I walk towards each other, but the sun shines in my face and obscures them from vision. Raising one hand to shield my eyes, I see a familiar hat, the glint of light, unfamiliar glasses. I see Aspen running towards me. All I can do is stand there, overwhelmed with relief so intense that all I can do is shake. I made it. She's here.
Miho!
Let's go. Thank fuck. I swear to God. Through Zealand's last game ripped my heart. I don't think I could take it again. As she approaches, she also slows and comes to a stop.
Miho!
My heart. I don't even know what to say. How can I respond? How can I put all the excitement, the worry, the relief that she made me feel in the past 24 hours into words? How do I say it? Silently, I close the distance between us. I can see her eyes searching mine, looking for an answer to the unspoken question. Overhead, the sun dips behind a cloud, done watching us for the day and throwing a handful of colours into the sky as it leaves. I struggled to find words before, but this is different. Like Aspen said yesterday, not just any words will do. I stop, just an arm's length away from Aspen, close enough to see the glint of tears hiding in her eyes.
I was so worried.
Her voice is barely a whisper, but I can't hear anything else. Looking up into her eyes, I'm surprised to find the answer to my own question, one that I didn't even know I asked until just now. One that required more than words, or maybe less. I take the last step that separates us and lean forward to kiss Aspen. The marks of human affection have always seemed so strange and foreign to me, and maybe even unappealing. As I kiss her, I think I understand. Without hesitation, Aspen's hand rises to touch my face, holding me in place, as if I'd want to leave. She moves like she was waiting for this. Maybe she was. It's unlike anything I've felt before. This closeness, the warmth. I lift my own hand against her wrist. I think maybe I understand Aspen's fears better now, because I would always be content if this moment lasted forever. Even when we separate, Aspen's hands stay on my shoulders, keeping me close.
I see you thought about what I said.
And practically nothing else.
My heart. Fuck. Oh god. Pulling me into a hug, Aspen rests her face against mine.
So I wasn't the only one then.
She sighs contently.
There's so much more I want to say, but this is hardly the place to say it now, is it?
I'd nearly forgotten where we were, not far from the side of the road. Turning around, I look back at the city, which is starting to light up from the evening.
Oh, right. It's kind of a long way home, you know.
Aspen squeezes my hand.
I have all the time in the world.
Open ending. Chapter 4. My heart, fuck. Oh, it's so cute. Look at that, I got an achievement. Okay, I'll make a new save. Yeah. Make a new save. This is my Aspen ending save. Or one of the Aspen endings. God. As much as I really want to continue, I know my brain starts to shut down after too long from playing a visual novel. And we're just getting into all the emotional stuff. So I'll leave it here tonight, and I should be able to pick this up tomorrow. So, yeah, see you all tomorrow. Bye!